like a bird, I only fly away. I don't know where my soul is.
Ghostbusters is directed by Paul Feig, and it stars Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones. I was really looking forward to this movie when it was first announced. I'm not a misogynist. I mean, women suck. That's not my fault. I was really looking forward to this movie because of the female cast in particular, and the fact that I like Paul Feig's movies. I think he makes funny movies. Kristen Wiig hasn't been doing a good job as of late for like the last 3 years. Like ever since Secret Life of Walter Mitty, she's been doing really shitty movies. Like that and like fucking Welcome to Me, and like she was bad in The Martian. Like she's just not trying anymore, and it makes me wish her golden days of SNL were back, because she was the best female cast member that I ever watched on SNL. Melissa McCarthy, she's hit or miss for a lot of people, but I really like her a lot in the majority of her films. I haven't seen Tammy. I like the only one I didn't see. But like I thought The Boss was bad, but it wasn't horse shit, and I thought Identity Thief was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but then she can still like make Paul Feig's movies like really palatable, like The Heat or Spy. You know, she carries those movies, quite frankly. The SNL newcomers, Kate McKinnon, who's outstanding on SNL, and Leslie Jones, who's also great on SNL as well. And I'm a big fan of both of those two on SNL, and I was really happy that they were both given a shot to get big roles like this in a big franchise, potential franchise, as this will be. This movie was asshole, all right? I'm not a sexist, okay? I'm not, all right? But this movie was fucking bad, all right? Paul Feig can't direct really a movie. He can't. Like, his movies all look really bad. Like, they all look like the production design just is like half given a shit, right? But then they get like a humongous cast like this, right? And you also have Andy Garcia, Neil Casey, what's his name? Michael K. Williams, Matt Walsh, Cecily Strong, also from SNL. Like, you get all these people, Zach Woods, Ed Begley Jr., and that's where all the money went, people, is the fucking cast, because the visuals are just okay, and the movie just looks cheap. It looks like a cheap movie, like all of Paul Feig's movies. But no, if I were to say, no, Paul Feig, you're a bad director. No, I'm a sexist now. You know, you're the guy. You're the one who's sexist, because you did a whole video, an article for Hollywood Reporter saying why men aren't funny. Why isn't anybody talking about this? Like, that is really fucked up. It's the most nothing movie. Everyone who's been saying on YouTube, like, they're just trying to say that it's not bad. But honestly, 5 to 10 years from now, people are going to say that this is a bad fucking movie. It's the laziest movie. It goes for the most, like, easy jokes you can go for. Especially I don't care if it's a PG-13 movie, because Central Intelligence is PG-13, and that was a funny movie with a weak story, but really good chemistry between its stars. And everyone's saying the chemistry is really great between these people. I don't think any of the characters were fully developed enough, and when they were given development, it was the most hokey way. Like, Kristen Wiig has a scene where it's like she's reading off cue cards, like, yeah, I had a ghost when I was a kid, and no one believed me. Everyone thought I was weird. Like, what is that word? Kristen Wiig sucks now. She's just sleepwalking her whole way through this movie. Melissa McCarthy is trying, and Kate McKinnon is trying, even though she's a little too obnoxious sometimes. Everyone's saying she's great. She's just awkward to the max. But she's not the worst thing in this movie, all right? At least they're trying. But unfortunately, Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon in particular are just made to just do their caricatures that they're used to doing and all of their other work. Honestly, Leslie Jones felt like the most sincere Ghostbuster out of all of them, because of how natural she is as a comedian. And whenever there was a part in the movie where I chuckled, I never laughed out loud in this movie, it was because of her. I mean, the closest I ever came to, like, thinking that this movie was funny was when the villain of the movie, who I'll talk about in a second, he has this big plan, and they're in front of him now, the Ghostbusters, and they're like, what's the point of living? What's the point of having everyone on this earth just do everything what they want? And then Melissa McCarthy's just like, soup. And then she can't think of another example because she's Melissa McCarthy and fat and right and like, oh, Paul Feig, you did it. I didn't. All right, you wrote it. I didn't. And then Leslie Jones says, salad, like soup and salad. Like, I know it was the easiest improv she probably ever did, but that was the closest I came to laughing out loud, because that was the one. Maybe it was unintentional. I just thought that was funny because of how like that was the laziest, probably the laziest improv of the movie, but the funniest improv. That's how dumb this movie is. And the villain played by Neil Casey is so shitty. Like, literally, there's a scene in this movie where he's talking in front of a mirror and he's like, "All right, Rowan, you've been bullied your whole life. Now it's time for you to be the bully." I almost walked out of the theater. Like, Chris Hemsworth in this movie, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's sexist, it's sex, his character's I don't care, alright? He's a horribly written character. And Chris Hemsworth, I've seen him play, like, the dumb idiot on SNL whenever he hosts SNL. He's good at that, alright? He's horrible in this movie. It's just one big joke of him being an idiot. And yet he would say some shit and do some shit in the movie that wasn't completely retarded, and it would completely contradict whatever he would say to them, yet everyone else thought he was cool, and so he could just be like, "Oh, the cool guy all the time," and at the end he gets the sandwich thrown back at him. Yeah, spoiler alert, he had a fucking sandwich thrown back at him. Fuck you. And when it came to, like, the fucking, them shooting the villain in the dick, first of all, how did the villain... Like, he was a spirit, and then he just turns into the logo? Spirits can turn into logos. Okay. Like, this movie, like, not enough people are just bringing up how ridiculously dumb this movie is, and lazy it is. And, it's just, it doesn't even feel like the characters, besides the Ghostbusters in this universe, really care about the Ghostbusters. They're like, "Yeah, thanks for doing the job, but you still have to be a secret." Like, it's a mean-spirited society they're living in this universe. And while society is mean-spirited anyway, I like to go to the movies to escape, and everyone was mean in this movie that weren't the Ghostbusters, and even they were douches sometimes. I mean, you get Bill Murray to come back, it's not even a comedic cameo. It's a fucking, like, he's the guy that you would never think Bill Murray would play the scientist who would try to, like, debunk the Ghostbusters, but yeah, he plays that, and Dan Aykroyd comes and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to Chinatown because I'm racist and I'm not afraid no ghosts." Like, fuck you. Fuck you. And Ernie Hudson just comes back as the uncle. Alright, we knew that was happening as soon as she said, alright? She didn't have to finish the word. I didn't like this movie. I would give it a 2 out of 10. It didn't really make me angry. It made me angry that it could have been something really good. And I wasn't on the side of the sexist, the misogynist, or anything like that. I really wanted this to be good, but Paul Feig was just so far up his own ass and thought he made something so groundbreaking that it was just the most cliched, boring movie of the year. It's a bad movie. I'm trying to remember shit from it that I can't. Alright, 2 out of 10. I didn't like this movie.